Okay, so it's week 2 for the little seeds experiments, which means we're going to be reviewing House of X number 2 and Powers of 10 number 2. First off, House of X number 2. I really like the cover for this. You have a variety of one character. I don't know if you can tell, but you have a lot of variety of one character. There's like a fingerprint behind her. You've got Xavier, Magneto. I'm really excited to see what's going to happen in this issue. So first we start off with a quote from Apocalypse, and here there's like this obvious little A icon with Apoc forever underneath. It's safe to assume this is his official like code word. There's a few other logs that look similar like this, and so I'm gonna go back and see if this pops up in any of the first 2 issues already. But turning until the title page, first 2 are a quick introduction to Miura and her mutant ability, and so this is essentially the first life that she lives through, and she has a clear memory of it in her second life, and so that's like essentially her mutant ability is reincarnation. So this whole issue is Mora based and all about her reincarnations. At one point she runs into Destiny, and Destiny has to explain that unless she helps the mutants, she's only going to get 11 tries to save mutant kind. And so when she first realizes what mutants are, she tries to like fix them. She wants to get rid of the mutant gene, and that just ends up in chaos. And so she starts to try to figure out what's the best way for humankind, mankind, and machine kind. Because even if humans aren't in the mutant ways, it seems like something else is, and so essentially she's got 11 tries to try to figure out how to get everyone in a harmony through reincarnation. She goes through good guys, she goes through bad guys, she goes through beings from outer space. It's a really, really nice issue. It's also the first issue that has been a little bit more linear. The first 2 felt more like an event and that you were just getting like snippets of that. This is like start to end and everything in between. As much as I really liked this issue, I did have one tiny problem with it. Now, I might just be picky, okay? Like I said, this has been my favorite so far. I know there's only like a few out, but in the middle of reading this great story, I hit an ad, which isn't too surprising, is it? Now, it's one of them fancy, like, fold-out ads, which, again, no problem with, and there's a lot of carnage. I'm not even mad that there's not, like, a weird variety. I'm not mad that they have a ad for number 4 when clearly I'm already $20 in. We're going for the whole thing. You don't need to remind me that number 4 will be out soon. Honestly, if this was like all the variants for number 4, it might be something different. I can call my shop and tell them which one I want. It's not the case. Now, usually ads don't bother me. It's like 8 pages if you like count the outside or whatever. You could probably take them out if you don't mind damaging books, but the reason this one kind of peeved me off, and I'll show you, at the end of this issue there's this really cool log from Mora, and it's all 10 attempts that she's already tried. They warned her and said that the 11th might be her actual death if she can't figure out how to help everyone. I really like this graph. I really like the colors against the white. I really like that it explains all of her lives. The problem though is I have to turn it. And it's a shame because honestly, if they were gonna put a fold out piece in this issue, it should have been this graph. I should have been able, and you could have had ads on the outside of the graph, but when you open it all up, it should have just been one whole entity, one whole piece. You can see everything all nice and linear. And especially with this last page where things like end like sooner than others, it just would have been really nice to see this all laid out in one big piece instead of having it all chopped up. And maybe the reason they have it sectioned off is because it is like a lot of information to take in at once. but really, like, the fold, this should have folded out. Maybe they can change it for the volume. Maybe they can put it in a cool poster and I could, like, hang it, I don't know. And then we get to the reading order. It's the end of the book. Really short review, only because I don't want to give too much away, and I think everyone should go read this. Even if you didn't read the first two, I want to say you can pick this up and enjoy it by itself. Obviously, if you want to get full story and full clues, you're going to need the other two. But as far as like a mutant background or a mutant introduction, this is it. Good as a standalone. If that chart was any better, I'd have given it a 5. So next up is Powers of 10, number 2. We're just going to jump into it. For whatever reason, the colors in this one seem a little bit more intense. Like, I don't know if you can see that, like, hue change on there, the greens, the pink, and it kind of stays like that throughout the whole book. So I'm just going to flip until we get to the title page. And first off, we have a quote from Magneto. We got Magneto's little icon down there, and it also says Magneto Omega, which I have no idea if that's a reference to anything else. I don't know if this is the first time that's ever been said in the series, but we're gonna find out. So it starts off with Mora, Xavier, and Magneto meeting up. Again, look at these purples, these pinks, these purples, these purples. The color in this issue, again, more intense. I don't know if I wasn't paying attention in the other 3, but this one definitely changes the game. And all it is them making a treaty, trying to see if they can work together for a better mutant world. And look at, like, that pink highlight on his hand. I don't know, the pinks and purples in this issue are just, they're spot on. And then we have the title page that I noticed for this one that I now have to go back and check the other ones for is this little get up right here in the corner. So, Powers of 10, number 2, and then we have the smaller title that says, We Are Together Now, You and I. Now, flipping through the first few pages, you see Mora and Xavier together. She talks about Xavier a little bit more in her standalone issue. But here in the corner, it says the world of Mora and the man named Magneto. And I just kind of wonder if that's going to lead anywhere. I know they work together. If you read House of X number 2, you know they work together. It feels a little more lovey than I was expecting. I don't know. So this issue goes back to the war. The mutant camps, the mutant genes experiments. First log that pops up is called Nimbus, and essentially it's all of these human scientists duplicated their minds, took all this knowledge, put it on a spaceship, and then sent it off into space, and it ended up colliding with this planet. Over time, the planet became sentient and then took all of that knowledge and is now its own being and knows things. But I also just think it's interesting that the island is, like, handing out candy and now there are sentient beings. I don't know. Next log that comes up is kind of explains different types of society, but this is again where, like, knowledge and learning seem to be the main theme. So you have types of society planetary and types of society galactic. It explains how there are machines, which is a singular mind. There's the hive, which is 10 of the machine minds. The only reason it goes up to 10 for the hive is because either politically or just, like, naturally, for whatever reason, 10 more singular beings can't get along long enough to survive. If there's 11, it just throws off the balance. And then there's this, like, intelligence, like, which reaches, like, 100, which could also be, like, considered, like, a planet, which again goes back to the island of Krakoa and how many life beings it's holding. So if I had to guess, the island would be down in this range, but this one was a little hard to get through. It was a little harder sci-fi than I'm used to. I'm not too sure if I need to know more X-Men stuff for this page too, but I definitely feel like you need to know X-Men and hard sci-fi to like fully appreciate these two graphs. I'm not going to complain about the ad in the middle. I'm just going to say that I'm excited for the volume to see if this is still here or not. But on a galactic scale, this pretty much just explains how planets are eating other planets to gain the right to be number one. I don't know, like a bunch of machines, bunch of minds, they're all a collective, they're all in it together, and again, everyone's goal is to be the ultimate sentient being. And so you have planets eating other planets to gain their knowledge, and then you have planets being destroyed because they're not anything near as comparable as the one that's out to eat them. So, again, feel like maybe I'm missing a little bit of the X-Men background to fully understand it. Maybe I'm just really dumb. Maybe I need to read this 3 or 4 times. It could be the ad in my way, and I just didn't want to deal with it and have to explain it to you guys. Read it yourself. Explain it to me. Let me know. Main complaint about this page, this is an advertisement. This isn't. They're in the same color scheme, and with this just being a bunch of random shapes, I almost like skipped this. Like if I wasn't paying attention, I would have just thought this was both ads. Like if we can get a differ or a buffer or something, that would be really cool. The reading order. Remember, next week is going to be Powers 3 and then House 3. So you're doing Powers 2, Powers 3, House 3. I don't know why they're putting it in this order. I honestly don't know what the difference between House and Powers is, like different themes, different information. I haven't caught on quite yet. I'm excited regardless though. And now, let's go look at some seeds. So I watered them this morning. It's been 7 days exactly and nothing yet. The package did say 7 to 21 days before anything bloomed, so you know, it's early. Same over here. Now I know it's in the shade right now, but this area does get a lot of sun once it's right above it. I don't know if the shade is messing with anything, but it is, again, day 7, so I'm not going to put too much pressure on these guys. And of course, over here we have the spot that I kind of just dug up and hoped for the best. I'm trying to water this one about once a week as opposed to the other two, which I water every 2 days. This one I really just wanted to see what would happen, if anything would come from just like the minimal amount of work, or if it's just doesn't have a chance.